What if I told you that the cure for America's #1 killer is already here, but the politicians in Washington are the only thing standing between you and a longer life? We are standing on the precipice of a medical revolution that could literally edit the risk of heart disease out of your DNA, yet a massive legislative bottleneck is threatening to kill this project before it even starts. This is a story about life, death, and the grinding gears of a government that often moves too slowly for the people it represents. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow. For decades, we have been told that heart disease is something we just have to live with, a combination of bad luck, bad diet, and bad genes. But that narrative is being challenged right now on Capitol Hill. Representatives Don Davis, a Democrat from North Carolina, and Claudia Tenney, a Republican from New York, have taken a stand that is rare in today's hyper-polarized environment. They are pushing for legislation that would grant wider access to genetically targeted technologies, or GTTs. These aren't your standard pills or surgeries. These are cutting-edge medical interventions that go straight to the source. Your genetic codito fix the underlying issues that cause heart disease. During a recent event hosted by The Hill, titled "Protecting Patients from America's #1 Killer," both Davis and Tenney made it very clear: the House of Representatives is ready to move. They have the momentum, they have the bipartisan support, and they have the scientific backing to show that these technologies work. However, there is a massive catch. While the House is prepared to pass this, the Senate is acting as a major roadblock. Representative Davis specifically mentioned that the current challenge isn't the science or even the will of the peoplites getting this issue on the front burner in the Senate. When we talk about genetically targeted technologies, we are talking about a paradigm shift. Currently, most heart disease treatments are reactive. You have high blood pressure, so you take a pill. You have a clogged artery, so you get a stent. GTTs are proactive. They target the specific genetic markers that make a person susceptible to cardiovascular issues in the first place. This could mean the difference between a lifetime of expensive medication and a one-time treatment that solves the problem at its root. But why is the Senate dragging its feet? In the world of US politics, the front burner is a crowded place. Between foreign aid packages, border security debates, and the constant threat of government shutdowns, long-term medical innovation often gets pushed to the back. But as Representative Tenney pointed out, we don't have the luxury of time. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death in the United States, claiming hundreds of thousands of lives every single year. The cost of inaction isn't just measured in dollars, it's measured in empty chairs at dinner tables across the country. There is also the massive question of access and equity. Even if this technology is perfected, who gets it? This is where the political battle gets even more intense. Genetically targeted treatments are notoriously expensive to develop. If the government doesn't create a framework for coverage and accessibility, these cures will only be available to the ultra-wealthy. Representatives Davis and Tenney are arguing that the federal government must step in to ensure that these technologies are integrated into our healthcare system in a way that doesn't leave the average American behind. They are pushing for a future where your zip code or your bank account doesn't determine whether you have access to life-saving genetic medicine. Let's analyze what is really happening here behind the scenes. When you see a Democrat from North Carolina and a Republican from New York joining forces, it tells you two things. First, the issue is so critical that it transcends party lines. Heart disease doesn't care if you're a blue voter or a red voter. Second, it suggests that there is significant pressure from the medical and pharmaceutical sectors to get some clarity on how these technologies will be regulated. The industry needs a green light from Congress to move forward with massive investments, and right now, the Senate's hesitation is creating a wait-and-see atmosphere that could stall innovation for years. The outcome of this legislative push will set a precedent for every other type of genetic medicine. If Congress can successfully navigate the ethical and financial hurdles of heart disease GTTs, it opens the door for similar treatments for cancer, Alzheimer's, and rare genetic disorders. But if they fail, or if the Senate continues to prioritize short-term political wins over long-term health breakthroughs, we could see a brain drain where this technology moves overseas to countries with more favorable regulatory environments. We are looking at a situation where the House has done the legwork, the science is proven, and the bipartisan will is there, yet the bureaucratic structure of the Senate remains the final hurdle. This is the reality of American governance in 2024. Even when both sides agree on a solution to a literal life-or-death problem, the process can still be the ultimate enemy. So what do you think about this? Should the government be fast-tracking genetic technologies that can rewrite our DNA to prevent disease? Or are you worried about the ethical implications and the costs involved? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. The fight for the future of American healthcare is happening right now, not just in doctors' offices, but in the committee rooms of Washington, D.C. Whether or not these life-saving technologies make it to the front burner will be a defining test for this Congress. We will be watching the Senate closely to see if they answer the call or let another year slip away while heart disease remains our nation's top killer. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.